Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch another lovely day on store for us here in the Ozarks. It's supposed to get over 80. It has been months. I don't even know when, but it's been a long time since we've seen 80-degree weather here in the Ozarks. I mean, that was last summer, maybe early fall, but yeah, 80 degrees, and that's not normal for us this time of the year. So it's going to be an abnormally warm day, really dry, very very dry day, and some breeze. So I was busy for a while yesterday with some fires. Might be another busy day, maybe even worse conditions than yesterday. So we'll see. Um, saying yesterday in the video about how I think that part of the plan is to actually collapse or cause a big downturn in the economy, in the stock market. I think that there's something to that. There's more and more experts coming out online, and then not even just experts, just people online, stating that the belief is that there's a $7 trillion loan the United States has, and if they can cause the markets to go down and everything to kind of slip downward, they might be able to refinance that under a lower interest rate. The problem is, and I see that side of it. The problem is it's most likely going to cause a lot of problems for the average person. And I think sometimes, I'm going to lump Donald Trump into this with all the other politicians, all the other big bank leader, all the elite kind of people. They forget they don't, maybe they don't even know. A lot of them don't even know what it's like to be a normal, average, regular person. And the ones that maybe grew up that way, they've forgotten. And they don't realize that while, tariffs may make billions or hundreds of billions of dollars for America as a government, or refinancing the big loan is a good thing, maybe long term, I don't think that they realize how much it hurts the average American to be paying, $3 a gallon or more for gas, and $6, $7, $8 for a dozen of eggs, and bread prices and milk prices, and insurance, car insurance that's through the roof, and rent that's through the roof. And I don't think that they realize how much that affects, how much just a few percentage points of inflation can really affect the average person that's already strapped. It's already kind of pushed to their limits. And so while some of these strategies may have possibly, if they work, good long-term effects, they have some really detrimental short-term effects to the average person. And I think that it's very likely that we will see several point increase in inflation over the next year. Are we going to see hyperinflation? Are we going to see double-digit inflation? Probably not. I think it's possible. Probably not. But you have to realize that if inflation went up to 5, 6, 7, 8%, that's on top of all the inflation that we've accumulated over the last 4 or 5 years. So that would put a total cumulative inflation, well into the 20s, maybe 30% over the last 5 years. So that's extensive. That's tough. And so I think that, even if it's not, a complete rock bottom collapse, and that may not ever have been any plan for either side, just bringing things down to a real desperate level, I think is very much in store for us. Also, and this one, it shouldn't be too much of a shock, because he's actually done this before when he was president before. But the president came out and is calling for Thomas Massie, representative out of Kentucky, to be primaried. And interesting that Thomas Massie is one of the most Ron Paul-like candidate, or people in Congress. He's known as a very strong no vote. Many people have said that he is, and I don't really know him, and I don't follow that kind of stuff too much, but from what I understand, he's one of probably the most conservatives in Congress. But he has, he says he's not going to support this continuing spending bill to keep the government going. They're saying the government could shut down soon. if there's not a spending bill passed. And he has come out against this one because it's the same spending bill from last year. It's almost identical. All the funding is the same. All of the money sent all abroad to Ukraine, to Israel, to all these other countries, it's all the same. And he's come out and said, I'm not supporting this. I'm not voting for this. So Trump has publicly called for his removal, to primary him, to vote against him. And I think that was probably a really dumb move on the president's part, because a lot of conservatives are really taking Thomas Massey's side. And I think more and more people are seeing that, Trump's not Joe Biden. He's not Kamala Harris, and no one would ever say that he's, on that level. But he's not perfect. That's what a lot of us others conservatives have been trying to tell you for a long time. Stop putting him on this pedestal like he's some type of Messiah, king, savior, perfect person. He's not. He makes mistakes. He's wrong sometimes. And that's been my biggest complaint. You can't put any person on a pedestal, any human, to that level, and act like that they are infallible, because then that's when bad things usually happen. But I do think that we're in store for a rough ride. The stock market, overnight trading, it kind of bounced back a little bit, but that's normal. It's just people trying to make some money. But overall, we're going to see not just stocks, but probably a lot of things on the downturn. And I know a lot of people, and I've even said this before, the stock market is not a good gauge of what the economy's doing. That's true. But when $1.7 trillion is lost in the stock market, you have to understand that a lot of that's average person's retirements. A big chunk of the stock market is 401k retirement plans. And so that's average Americans losing money in their retirements. But I think that we're going to see more than just stock market stuff, where the trade wars are getting bigger and bigger, more serious. This new Prime Minister of Canada has said they're not backing down. They're not backing down from tariffs. China is slapping tariffs on Canada and the United States and everyone else they can think of. We're now, as a country, we're looking for eggs to import. We've been importing other foods when we should be growing it here. And there's been several kind of in the expert level saying that all of this, either kicking illegals out or running them out, a lot of them have left willingly, is going to cause problems in the agriculture industry, because already there's been reports of, in Florida and California, where the growing season is happening right now, that, farmers are having a hard time finding people to work, because so many people have just left the country willingly. Now, I'm not opposed to that. Make it clear here. I want all of the illegals out of the country. But we have to understand that comes at a cost, that we've been highly dependent upon them in various industries, and agriculture is one of those. And don't tell me that farmers don't hire illegals, because they absolutely do. Big corporate farms, which is where the bulk of our food comes from, they hire day workers, and they don't care if they're illegal or not. And there's going to be some hurt there. I was reading a report of some large tomato farms that they have no one to pick the tomatoes, that there's literally tomatoes rotting in the fields because they've been dependent on manual labor instead of machinery, and they don't have anyone that can pick the tomatoes. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that illegals are leaving the country or getting kicked out. I'm saying that we have to be aware of the immediate consequences for that. And so the prices of food will go up. The availability will be down just a little bit. And we have to be prepared for that. Between tariffs and workers leaving and more people being terminated from jobs, and it's not just federal jobs. There's been cutbacks all across the board, just about, in various different industries. We have to be ready for this. And I think that the downturn and the hardship that's going to be placed on American people, I don't think it's necessarily going to be the end. I mean, the worst thing we could ever imagine. I think it's just going to be bad enough that when, you know, new technologies to fix all of this, new, you know, digital currencies and new artificial intelligence that will run things and manage things, I think people will be ready for that. And I think that's the real danger of what we're seeing. So, you know, not everything that comes out of the White House is perfection, number one. And number two, you need to be getting yourselves ready. You want to become as self-sufficient as possible. You know, for some of you, growing season's getting real close. Others, it's still a ways away. But you need to be planning on your production. You need to be making some plans on what you can do to cut back, what you can do to be more self-sufficient. I think some hard times are coming. And for those of you that have money in the stock market, your investments, and you're losing it, man, you may be at a point now that you're just forced to ride it out. If not, you might want to look at other places to put your money for right now, because yeah, I think there's still a big correction yet to come. And I'm not a market guy. I don't follow it that much, but I think that there's a much bigger correction. And to back that up, Jim Cramer, most of you know who Jim Cramer is. He's quite famous for saying one thing and then the opposite happening, almost like that's his paid position. He said yesterday to not worry about the stock market, that you need to just keep your money in it and keep making money, because everything's going to be okay in the stock market, which is probably a big indicator that the stock market's gonna hit some serious lows. So yeah, just be getting yourselves ready, because I think it's going to get worse. But also remember that what goes on in the big financial world, and money and dollar and crypto and markets and even egg prices and milk prices, that's in the end, it's not life. And take account of your life and notice the things that are truly important, and put energy into those, whether it's your relationship with your family, relationship with the Most High, the relationship with the people around you that are important and that are trustworthy and that are meaningful in your life. That's where we should be putting lots of our energy into. And this other stuff that goes on that ends up just being noise, all it is it's just a way for us to have a little bit of a heads up on what's coming at us. And really, in the end, that's it. Folks, you really need to get your houses in order. You need to be preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.